NQ ripped 450 points in the New York session within the first hour, and I caught 50 points of it. But the only thing that matters is we hit max daily profit on a Friday morning before the open range is even set. To me, that's a pretty good day. So let's take a look at the one and done trade to finish out the week on a Friday. But first, let's go over the whole week and just look at, I haven't really been trading every single day. I had a flat Monday. I was super choppy. I lost that account on Thursday, which was a combine, so I didn't really care too much about it. But this one's back on my top one futures accounts on the Friday, so that's why I see some gaps. The top there was a vacation. But let's get to the trade here on NQ. Like I'm saying, we had a help of a news push, but I was out well before the news. That we had a long at the open. Now, if you look at it the way I trade, I teach it in Futures 2.0 with the VWAP. I don't like to trade while the opening range is still setting. These first 15 minutes of the New York Open sets that opening range, the high and low. And while we're still forming it, I like to see some pullbacks. And honestly, if this wasn't news, this giant candle, I'd be liking this pullback and be looking for longs on the way back out a second time. But clearly, that's a news push too strong to try to capitalize on. But I want to look at my trade here on the longs. On this take of New York VWAP, right? So the first sign that buyers are back in control after one bearish candle at the open and then 4 or so minutes of buyers trying to take it back. But the open range is still setting. Do we know for a fact this is the open range low and this is the open range high? Not at all, not yet, because the open range isn't set, which is always the risk of doing that, right? We could have formed a new low and then moved higher, and then we'd be saying this is the open range low. Why did I say it was that? We were only 4 minutes into the day. But this is on the regular trading hours where you see the first candles at 9:30. I was looking on it with the 15-minute and the electronic trading hours here. You'll see, well, now we're actually bouncing off of key VWAP of that overnight, right? That daily VWAP right at the New York Open, and then we get a break above New York. Well, we're clearly bullish overnight, higher highs and higher lows subtly. And this looks like the retest before we go continue trend back to the upside, right? We could even look at it on the 15-minute over here on the left side. We'll blow that up. Notice how pre-market we had a dip below overnight, but buyers have taken back that control here pre-market, that the open is right here heading into the open. That 1 minute down is that pin to the overnight, and we get that strong bullish closure in the first 15 minutes. That's when I'm in and out of my trade, just because I'm liking the level that we're at, right? So I don't always do it. I rarely do it. And I give myself some sort of pass on it, that if I'm going to trade while the open range is still setting, it's got to be because we're already at the level that I want to be active in, right? This is at the New York VWAP and the overnight VWAP that I want to find longs in. So what do I need to wait for necessarily? If I know I want to be bullish, it's off my 2 key VWAPs. It's worth the risk to try to find out if it's going to work, right? Let's take a look at the markup here. You'll see out very quickly. Here's the retest to the overnight, and here's the retest to the overnight on the left side on the 15-minute. First sign that buyers are in, it makes a new high a day. Open range is still setting, right? Because it was a strong open range because we entered 6 minutes into the day, so there's still 9 minutes left on this thing. That the open range was actually way up here. But I'm out on a strong push for a new high a day, max profit, happy days. Can't be too upset with that. We're taking a trade and being done before the open range is set, max profit in 4 or 5 minutes, and go on with the rest of my day. But if you were looking for trades the rest of the day, let's leave it on this electronic trading hour just so you can see this overnight VWAP, and the New York is in blue. It really just drifts higher, no pullbacks. We had a strong push on the news here, right? Imagine if I held in my long down here all the way to the end of the day. That's always fun to say, but that very unrealistic, and I have a profit target. But we look at, there's really no pullbacks besides this one to New York VWAP. So for this, I guess we'll go to the regular trading hours because now you'll see it right off that New York VWAP. So if you've seen Futures 2.0, which is the course I teach on ASFX TV, which right now you can get access to for absolutely free. If you just use code FIRST, you get your first month of stream for absolute free, as well as access to the 2 courses and another course on the way. So definitely check that out down below. I'll teach you the break strategy and the bounce strategy, and I'll be making some updates to it. But this is our pullback, right? This is what I want to see in order to get in on that next leg of bullish trend. And it's off that key level of New York. So the bounce play would be when you see buyers actually defend this New York, right? Not just 1 minute. That's very hindsight. Cherry picking that's the turn. We want to see maybe one close. At that point, it definitely looks like a nice strong bounce. So now we're in on the longs. Stop loss, not at current structure here, right? I'll draw a line. Not at this current structure. I want to go back here to the left, whatever the previous structure would be, and widen your stop to give you some space just in case this isn't done holding that New York VWAP, right? Because very rarely is it a perfect 2 minutes of pins and just shoots to the moon. It could definitely still want to play around with it, but ultimately still hold and move higher. And you want to be involved in the move if it still does that. On that play, it doesn't go back too high of day, but this is what the beauty is of that bounce play. You don't need it to. You got well over 1R if you take the bounce play with a good stop loss below New York. You could scalp this thing out for 1R, or even the break of high day VWAP could have been a good exit just in case it didn't break it. You're in and out of the trade before then. But if you take it to the high day VWAP or just the high day, it doesn't get there. But since you got such a good price, you could get a nice win. Now let's look on the flip side. If you did wait for the break, saying buyers are 100% back in control, well, now same thing. Your stop loss is going to have to be almost 100 points down here. Even if you did hug it at that current structure, you can see you don't get the lift for a new high a day at all. Maybe you could walk away with this thing not as a loss, right? Maybe hopefully you just called it a day. I mean, it's at this point, it's 3 p.m. on a Friday. If you're still trading, you need help. Get off the desk. Enjoy your weekend. Hopefully you had a good week. You're not going to make up for it all now on a Friday with 1 hour left. So hopefully you don't open yourself up for a half a loss heading into the close. Just take anything out of it that you can. But notice how there's no new high made or new low, right? It just stayed stuck in this giant range. Almost like we expelled all this energy during that news push that, yep, we're out of gas. That was all the move we had. We went 450 points in the first. I mean, that high was set at 10:15. So the first 45 minutes, and now we're just going to chill. That's why it's even more paramount that we try to make money as soon as possible, right, without rushing on a Friday morning, because who knows how the close of the week is going to look. If we're going to have another leg of trend in us, is there enough buyers? Is there enough sellers? What's the volatility going to look like? So if I could capitalize on a move off my VWAPs and catch a quick scalp, see you later. I'm going to enjoy the weekend, come back next week, and just try to do it again, right? This one Friday isn't going to make up for my entire week, my entire month. It's not going to make any difference. Just make a small little base hit, keep on stacking it, and more importantly, go into the weekend feeling good, right? That you followed your plan, you made some money. That if you're still stuck at the desk at 2 or 3 o'clock trying to trade this, whether you win or lose, you're just going to be so defeated and so much more stressed than if you were done by 10:15 with $200 or $500. I don't care. Any green would have been good. A nice little note to go into the weekend. But this isn't a bad setup to take. It's just one of those things that, hindsight or not, on a Friday when it's 1:30, I don't really want to ask for a new high a day. I'm never really even looking at the charts at 1:30 on a Friday, so I wouldn't know. But I'm just always fearful that the moves are done. We've had 5 trading days. The moves have happened. I don't know if we're just going to get another strong leg of trend. Now, of course, we always could. I'm just always wary of that, whether that's I have a reason to or not. That's why I like to try to capitalize on the open. If it's not there, all right, we'll come back on Monday. So hopefully this trade made sense to you guys. And like I said, check it out on ASFX TV. You can go over here to Futures 2.0 and you get it absolutely free. If you just use code FIRST, you get access to these courses as well as the live streams where we take these trades that we're teaching every single morning. And here's the replay of all those streams if you can't make them. We have guests on all the time. And like I said, Austin just updated the Futures 101. I'm going to update 2.0 here very soon, so stay tuned for that as well. But this is right out of it. Playing the bounce play off of the overnight VWAP with a break of New York. Let's go higher in what I think is a bullish trend. Because we're above all the VWAPs, it's been a bullish week. I'm on the right side of trend. And it pays out, thankfully, while the open range is still setting. There was some nice momentum, and we all had a great day on stream. Tanner had a nice trade as well on his Top 1 Live account. So that's a big W as well. So make sure you check it out. Check out the Top 1 sale while they're still running. Depending on when you're watching this, they're running a giveaway right now. Every entry that you make with my code Evan is going to give you 1 entry into the giveaway to win a chance of 40 accounts that they're giving away. So any purchase you make between now and August 31st, 1 entry per purchase. Unlimited entries, I guess, if you want to say it like that, but probably 3 is good. And I'll see you guys on the charts tomorrow morning. Trade safe.